Ethan had always dreamed of exploring the stars. As a young boy, he had watched the night sky and imagined the planets that waited for someone brave enough to visit them. Now, at 28, he stood on the edge of a new world, a place no human had set foot on before. The planet's surface glowed with soft, iridescent colors. Floating islands drifted above vast forests of crystal trees, and the air shimmered with a faint golden light. It was beautiful, but it also felt dangerous, and Ethan knew he needed to stay careful. His spaceship had landed in a small clearing near what appeared to be a city. The architecture was unlike anything he had seen. Buildings were tall and organic, curving like the inside of a shell. Bridges and walkways connected the floating islands to the ground below. Strange vehicles moved along invisible paths in the air. The city hummed with life. As Ethan stepped down from his ship, he noticed the people. They were humanoid in shape, but their skin had a soft luminescence and their eyes glimmered like jewels. They moved gracefully, speaking in a language that Ethan could not understand. Ethan walked carefully through the marketplace. Stalls were piled high with fruits that glowed in the dark and fabrics that seemed to float when touched by wind. He marveled at the differences from Earth. Yet even among the beauty, there was something uneasy about the city. The people moved with caution, casting quick, nervous glances at the sky and at one another. Ethan sensed a tension as if the entire city were holding its breath. It was near a small fountain that he first saw her. She was crouched behind a stall, her face hidden under a hood. Her eyes, wide and frightened, peeked out at the crowd. Ethan noticed her immediately. There was something about the way she held herself, small, fragile, yet determined. She looked different from the others. While the citizens had calm, practiced movements, she twitched with nervous energy, glancing over, her shoulder as if someone were chasing her. "Are you lost?" Ethan asked gently, approaching her. His voice was calm, but he kept his hands visible to show he meant no harm. The girl flinched. She seemed unsure whether to run or to trust him. Finally, she whispered, "Please, don't take me." Ethan knelt to be closer to her level. "I'm not going to hurt you, I'm a friend." She looked at him, her eyes wide and filled with fear. "You're human." Her voice trembled. "Why are you here?" "I'm exploring," Ethan said. "I'm here to learn about your world, not to harm anyone." He offered a small smile. "Can you tell me who you are?" The girl hesitated. Her eyes darted around the marketplace, as if searching for someone or something. "I'm Layara," she finally said. "I shouldn't be seen here if they find me." She trailed off, trembling. Ethan's curiosity deepened. "Find you? Who would be looking for you?" Layara's hands shook as she clutched the edge of her cloak. "People who want to take my kingdom. My people. I am the princess, but I have no protection. They want to control everything." Ethan's eyes widened. He had read about alien civilizations before, but he had never imagined encountering a princess hiding in a marketplace. "You're in danger," he said carefully. "We need to get you somewhere safe." She shook her head quickly. "No. If I go back to the palace, they will find me immediately. I cannot trust anyone there. But you are human. Maybe you can help." Her voice grew quiet, almost desperate. I need you to save my people." Ethan felt a mixture of awe and confusion. "Save your people? How?" Liara hesitated, then her gaze met his. "Marry me." The words came out in a whisper, but they carried a weight far greater than Ethan expected. He blinked, unsure if he had heard correctly. "I marry you?" he stammered. "I barely know you." Liara nodded, her eyes serious. "Yes. My people respect humans. If a human stands with me, I can unite the kingdom and protect everyone. Please, I beg you." Ethan stared at her, trying to make sense of the situation. He had traveled to other planets, faced strange creatures, and survived harsh environments, but this was something different. The idea of marrying an alien princess was far beyond anything he had imagined. And yet, as he looked at her, he saw fear, courage, and intelligence. She was not simply asking for marriage, she was asking for trust, for hope, for a chance to save her people. "Okay," he said slowly, surprising himself. "I will help you. But we need a plan. Not just marriage. There are other ways to protect your people." Liara's eyes lit up with a mix of relief and hope. "Yes, I have tried to fight them alone. It is impossible, but with your help, perhaps we can—" She stopped, her words catching. Ethan nodded. "We'll do this together. But first, we need to leave this market before anyone notices. You." They moved quickly through narrow streets and hidden alleys. Ethan followed Liara's lead as she guided him through secret paths, known only to palace staff and trusted citizens. He was amazed at how different the city looked from the hidden paths, peaceful, almost magical, with soft lights reflecting off crystal walls. Finally, they reached a small building hidden behind tall vines. "This is where I stay when I cannot be at the palace," Liara explained. "It is safe for now." She opened a hidden door and led Ethan inside. The room was simple with soft cushions and glowing plants. Despite the modesty, there was a quiet elegance. Ethan finally relaxed a little. "Okay, Liara, tell me everything. Who is after you and why?" She sat down, her hands clasped tightly. "The kingdom is divided. Some nobles want power, not peace. They see me as weak because I am young, because I try to help my people instead of controlling them. They will do anything to take over. If I cannot show strength, they will destroy us." Ethan frowned. "And you think a human, me, can help?" Liara nodded firmly. "Yes, humans are different. You have courage, determination, and hope. If you stand with me, the people will follow. We can protect the kingdom and defeat those who wish harm." Ethan looked at her seriously. "We need a strategy. First, we need to gather allies, understand the rival factions, and figure out what resources we have. Marriage alone won't solve this." Liara's eyes shone with admiration. "I understand. But marriage is a symbol. It shows unity and courage. It gives my people hope. They will fight alongside us if they see that a human believes in our cause." Ethan nodded slowly. He realized that this was bigger than just one person or one kingdom. It was about trust, courage, and the ability to inspire others. And somehow he felt a connection with Liara, not just as a human to an alien, but as two beings who understood the responsibility of leadership. The two spent the rest of the day planning, sharing knowledge, and preparing for the challenges ahead. Ethan explained human tactics and ways to strengthen defenses. Liara shared insights about her kingdom, her people, and the weaknesses of the rival factions. They worked late into the glowing night, the city quiet around them. As Ethan finally rested, he could not help but feel a mix of excitement and worry. He was far from Earth on a planet full of wonders and dangers, standing beside a princess who believed in him enough to ask for his hand in marriage, not for love, but for the survival of her people. Liara, too, stayed awake, thinking about the strange human who had appeared in her life. She wondered if he would truly be the one to help her save her kingdom, or if she had placed too much hope in someone so different. Yet in that quiet room, far from the eyes of the world, a bond began to form, a bond of trust, courage, and determination. The adventure was only beginning, and both knew that the days ahead would test them in ways they could not yet imagine. The stars outside shone brightly over the floating city, as if watching, waiting to see how a human and an alien princess would change the fate of a kingdom. The morning light on the alien city cast a golden glow over the floating islands. Ethan woke to find Liara already awake, sitting by the glowing window and staring at the city below. Her small hands rested on her knees, and her eyes reflected a mixture of worry and hope. "Good morning," Ethan said softly, not wanting to startle her. Liara turned, her face lighting up with a small smile. "Good morning, Ethan. Did you sleep well? I did, he replied, but I think today will be challenging. We need to start preparing for what comes next. Liara nodded. Yes, I have been thinking. We cannot just hide. The factions will not wait. They are planning. We need a plan, and we need allies. Ethan stood and walked to the small table in the room. He had drawn diagrams of human strategy and defense techniques the night before. We'll start with defense and strategy. We need to strengthen the palace, train the guards, and ensure the people know they have hope. Liara leaned closer to study his sketches. Your ideas are different. Humans think in ways we do not. This could help, but... She hesitated, biting her lower lip. There is another matter. About your promise. My request. Ethan sighed. You mean your proposal? Liara, I want to help you, but marriage is not the only way. We need action first. People follow strength and wisdom, not words alone. Liara's eyes softened. I know. But a symbol can inspire. My people have seen so many fail, so many leaders taken or betrayed. If they see a human, someone from another world, willing to stand with me, it could give them hope. It could unite them. Ethan considered this. You're asking me to be a symbol, not just a partner, he said slowly. Yes, she said, a symbol, and perhaps more. But first we must save the kingdom. Ethan nodded. Then we begin there. They left the small safe house and moved through quiet back streets toward the palace. The city had already begun its daily rhythm. Citizens floated above the streets on personal transport devices. Merchants displayed glowing fruits and fabrics, and guards patrolled the main bridges. Yet, there was tension in the air. Ethan noticed quick glances, hurried whispers, and children hiding behind vendors. The fear was subtle but real. As they approached the palace, Liara explained the situation. The factions are strong, but they are divided. Some nobles want power, some fear me, and some are loyal to the throne. If we can gain the support of the loyalists and show the strength of humans, we can protect the city. Ethan looked at the grand structure before him. The palace was massive, built on multiple levels with transparent walls and floating platforms. Gardens of luminous plants decorated every terrace. It was breathtaking, but he could see the cracks, sections, boarded up, guards looking tense and the shadow of fear over the city. Inside the palace, Liara led him to a council chamber. The room was circular, with a holographic map of the kingdom in the center. Around it sat several council members, their faces a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. This is Ethan, Liara introduced him. He is human, but he has wisdom and strategy that can help us. I ask you to trust him as you trust me. A tall council member with silver hair spoke first. A human? We are to trust an outsider with the safety of our kingdom? Ethan bowed respectfully. I am here to help. I will not interfere with your traditions or decisions. I only wish to provide guidance and aid to protect your people. Another member, a woman with sharp eyes, studied him closely. Why should we follow a human's ideas? Ethan smiled calmly. Because sometimes an outside perspective can see solutions that are invisible from within. And because my goal is the same as yours, to protect the kingdom and its people. Liara looked at him proudly. You see, humans have courage. Courage to face unknown challenges. Courage to stand for what is right. The council debated, some still skeptical, but slowly they began to listen. Ethan explained simple yet effective strategies. Patrol rotations, using the city's floating paths for rapid response, training guards in teamwork and communication, and using human tactics of diversion and defense to outsmart the factions. By mid-afternoon, a plan began to form. Ethan and Liara worked with the council to strengthen defenses, organize loyal citizens, and prepare the palace for possible attacks. Liara watched Ethan as he spoke with authority, realizing that his presence inspired more than just strategy. It inspired confidence. Later, as they walked through a private terrace, Liara spoke softly. Ethan, you are unlike anyone I have met. Your courage, your calmness, it gives me hope. And not just for the kingdom, but for myself. Ethan stopped and looked at her. Liara, I will stand with you. I promise. But our first goal is to secure the city. After that, we can discuss other matters. Symbols, alliances, your proposal. It is important, yes, but action comes first. She smiled, though worry still lingered. I understand. But sometimes, a symbol can inspire more than action alone. Perhaps both are needed. Ethan chuckled lightly. Then let us make sure our actions are strong enough to match the symbol. As night fell, a warning reached them. A loyal scout reported that a small group of rival faction soldiers had entered the city from the northern cliffs. They were lightly armed but moving quickly toward the palace. Liara's face went pale. They will try to scare the citizens. We must stop them before they reach the palace. Ethan nodded. Then we do what humans do best. We outthink them. Together, they gathered a small group of palace guards and loyal citizens. Ethan instructed them to take positions along hidden paths and to use the city's unique layout to their advantage. Floating bridges, narrow alleys, and elevated terraces became their tools. As the rival soldiers advanced, they were met with unexpected obstacles. Traps set with Ethan's guidance slowed them down. Guards positioned cleverly struck quickly and vanished before the soldiers could respond. Citizens, inspired by the presence of both Ethan and Liara, assisted in subtle ways, blocking paths, creating distractions, and giving vital information. The fight was tense, but brief. The faction soldiers were unprepared for such organized resistance. One by one, they were captured or forced to retreat. The city remained safe. After the battle, Liara and Ethan walked through the streets, seeing citizens emerge from hiding. Children waved, adults nodded, and a sense of hope began to spread. Ethan could feel it too, the power of courage, intelligence, and unity. Liara turned to him, her eyes shining. See? Your presence, your ideas, they make a difference. My people believe in you. Ethan smiled. No, Liara. It is your leadership that makes the difference. I only help you see possibilities you already have within yourself. She reached out and touched his arm lightly. Still, humans are different. You remind me that even one person willing to stand for what is right can change everything. That is why I asked you to marry me. Not because of duty, but because I see your heart. Ethan looked at her seriously. Liara, I understand why you asked, and I will think about it. But for now, we focus on your people and your kingdom. That is the most important thing. She nodded, accepting his answer for now. Yes, for now. But one day, I hope you will see that this is not just a request, but a chance to unite two worlds. The night sky above the city was filled with stars. Ethan looked up, thinking about the journey ahead. This world was full of wonders and dangers, but it also showed him the power of hope, courage, and human ingenuity. Beside him, Liara stood with quiet strength, ready to face the challenges ahead. Together, they would begin to change the fate of her kingdom, and perhaps the future of interstellar friendship between humans and aliens. The morning sun rose slowly over the floating city, casting long, golden shadows across the crystal terraces. Ethan stood at the palace balcony, looking over the city with a mixture of wonder and concern. The previous night's skirmish had been a small victory, but he knew it was only the beginning. Liara's kingdom was fragile, and the rival factions would not give up easily. Liara appeared beside him, her small hand brushing against his arm. The people are waking. They have hope. Again, she said softly. Thanks to you, Ethan. They trust you. Ethan shook his head. It is not me alone, it is your leadership. I only help you see possibilities. Courage can inspire, but it must be guided wisely. Liara smiled, her eyes reflecting admiration. You are unlike anyone I have ever met. Humans, You are strong in ways I never imagined. Ethan smiled faintly but did not respond. There was work to be done. The council meeting began soon after breakfast. The room was tense. Several council members remained skeptical of a human's involvement, but the recent success gave them pause. Ethan took his place at the table and addressed the members. Your kingdom faces more than small attacks, he said calmly. The rival factions are testing your defenses. They will attempt larger strikes if we do not prepare. We need intelligence, communication, and trust. If we work together, we can protect the people and restore stability. A council member, tall and stern, leaned forward. And how do you suggest we do this? We know our city, our people, our laws. You are an outsider. Ethan placed a hand on the holographic map in the center of the table. That is why you must help me. You know the city, the paths, and the resources. I can help you use them in new ways. For example, the floating. Bridges can be used for rapid movement, traps, and even defensive retreats if necessary. You can outthink the enemy, but sometimes an outside perspective helps see patterns that are hidden. Liara nodded beside him. He is right. We cannot do this alone. Together, we are stronger. After hours of discussion, the council agreed to form small defense squads combining loyal citizens and palace guards. Ethan trained them personally, showing them how to use the city's unique layout to their advantage. Liara observed, occasionally asking questions and offering insights about the rival faction's tendencies. By afternoon, they received news from scouts that a larger force was moving toward the city from the northern cliffs. This was no small group. Dozens of armed soldiers, well-trained and determined, intended to strike at the heart of the palace. Ethan immediately began organizing the city's defenses. We cannot fight them head-on. We will use the city itself. Narrow paths, elevated terraces, and hidden traps will give us the advantage. Remember, they do not know this terrain as well as we do. Use that to our benefit, Liara nodded. We must also protect the citizens. They are frightened. Their hope is fragile. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We will protect them. Together. The first clash came near the floating bridges connecting two major terraces. Rival soldiers tried to advance quickly, but Ethan had anticipated this. Loyal guards pushed obstacles onto the bridges, forcing the enemy to slow down. Meanwhile, hidden squads attacked from above, striking quickly and vanishing before the soldiers could respond. Liara watched from a safe distance as her city's defenders, guided by Ethan's strategy, held the enemy at bay. She felt a mixture of pride and fear. Pride in the courage of her people, fear for their safety. Ethan moved among the squads, giving instructions and encouragement. Hold your ground. Watch the bridges. Do not let them reach the palace. His calm voice carried authority. Even the citizens who had never held a weapon before acted with confidence under his guidance. As the battle continued, Ethan noticed a small group of enemy soldiers attempting to flank the palace from a hidden alley. He turned to Liara. We need to stop them before they reach the inner gates. Can you guide me? Liara nodded and led him through twisting paths, known only to the palace staff. They moved silently, emerging behind the enemy. Ethan and the loyal guards quickly ambushed the soldiers, using tactics unfamiliar to the aliens. The enemy was confused and disorganized, and within minutes, they were captured. Liara looked at Ethan with admiration. Your ideas, they work. You truly understand how to lead and protect. Ethan shrugged. I only show what is possible. Courage and teamwork do the rest. By evening, the city had been secured. The enemy had retreated, their forces scattered and defeated. The citizens cheered, their fear replaced by hope. Liara walked among them, offering words of encouragement, while Ethan quietly observed, noting their morale and areas for further improvement. That night, in the small safe room of the palace, Liara spoke softly. Ethan, you have done more than I imagined, not just for the kingdom, but for me personally. You've earned my trust completely. Ethan met her gaze. and you've earned mine. I trust you to lead your people wisely. But this is only the beginning. The factions will try again. We must be prepared always. Liara's expression grew serious. I know, and I want you by my side, not just as a symbol, but as a partner. If we are to face these challenges, I need to know I can rely on you completely. Ethan paused. You can. I will stand with you. But remember, leadership is more than symbols and promises. It is action, courage, and the ability to inspire others. That is what will truly protect your people. She smiled softly, placing her hand over his. I understand, and I will do my best. But even leaders need symbols to inspire hope. That is why I asked you before about marriage. Not for tradition, but to show unity, to give courage to everyone. Ethan nodded slowly. One day, Liara. Perhaps. But for now, we focus on action. The following days were filled with preparation and training. Ethan and Liara worked closely together, strengthening defenses, organizing patrols, and teaching citizens to remain calm and cooperative. They used human strategy combined with alien knowledge to improve communication, logistics, and rapid response to threats. During one evening patrol, a group of citizens approached them. We heard about your plans, Ethan. The city is stronger because of you. And on Princess Liara, your courage gives us hope. Liara smiled warmly. Thank you, but it is not just me. It is all of us. Together we protect this city. Ethan looked at the citizens. Exactly. Hope comes from courage and action. One person can inspire, but everyone's effort matters. The citizens nodded, inspired by the unity of human intelligence and alien bravery. Ethan realized that this was more than a strategy. It was the essence of leadership. As night fell again, Ethan and Liara stood on the palace balcony looking at the stars above. You see, Ethan, Liara said softly, humans are remarkable. You do not just fight. You teach, inspire, and guide. That is why I believe in you. Ethan smiled faintly. And you, Liara, are remarkable. Your people trust you because you care, because you act with courage. Together we can face any challenge. She placed her small hand in his. Then we will. Whatever comes, we face it together. Ethan nodded. Together. Above the floating city, the stars twinkled, as if watching. Ethan and Liara knew that this was only the beginning of greater challenges. Rival factions, political schemes, and the dangers of the world beyond awaited. But for the first time, the kingdom had hope. And with human courage guiding them, Liara's people would face the trials ahead with determination, trust, and unity. The bond between the human and the alien princess had deepened, not through words alone, but through shared danger, trust, and the understanding that courage, intelligence, and heart could bridge worlds. The city slept under the soft glow of alien lights, unaware that its future had already changed. And in the quiet of the palace, Ethan and Liara prepared for the battles yet to come, knowing that together they could overcome any obstacle. The city awoke under a pale morning sky, but there was tension in the air. The rival factions had grown bolder, and the palace's alarms had sounded repeatedly through the night. Ethan stood at the top of the palace tower, looking over the floating city with a careful eye. He could see the small movements of enemy scouts along the northern cliffs, the way they crept forward, testing the defenses. Liara approached him silently, her usual calm expression replaced by worry. They are gathering, she said softly. They will strike soon, and this time they may bring more than before. Ethan nodded, his mind already running through plans. Then we need to be ready. This will be more than a simple defense. We must show strength, strategy, and unity. If the people see courage, they will stand with us. Liara's eyes shone with determination. Then we act together, as one. But, Ethan, will you remain with me through this, even if it is dangerous? Ethan smiled faintly. I will. Your people and your kingdom are worth protecting, and I believe in what we can accomplish together." The palace council convened quickly. Ethan presented his plan: defensive positions along the northern cliffs, rapid response teams along the floating bridges, and coordinated patrols using the city's secret paths. He had also prepared diversion points, places where the enemy could be lured into traps without endangering citizens. "We cannot fight blindly," he explained. "Every soldier, every citizen who helps, must know their role. Confusion will be our enemy. We must act with precision and trust." A few skeptical council members exchanged glances, but the recent victories and Ethan's calm confidence convinced most. Liara stood beside him, supporting his words with her own authority. Together, human ingenuity and alien leadership created a strategy that combined brains, courage, and teamwork. As the sun climbed higher, the first wave of the enemy appeared. Dozens of armed soldiers approached along narrow paths and floating platforms, their eyes filled with determination. But Ethan's plan was ready. "Hold the terraces," he called. "Use the bridges to control their movement. Wait for my signal." Loyal guards took positions, citizens helped with barricades, and hidden squads waited at strategic points. When the enemy reached the first platform, they were surprised by the traps Ethan had designed: falling barriers, controlled collapses, and narrow paths that forced them into small groups. Confusion and panic spread through their ranks. Liara watched from above, her heart pounding. She had never seen anyone fight or think like Ethan. The human's clever strategies, combined with her people's skill, created a perfect defense. Hours passed as the battle continued. The enemy attempted to flank the palace from multiple directions, but Ethan anticipated each move. He moved among the defenders, giving quick instructions and correcting mistakes. "Don't let them reach the inner city. Keep the terraces clear. Use the bridges wisely." Liara joined him in rallying the citizens, her small voice carrying over the chaos. "We are stronger than they think. Protect your homes. Protect each other." The unity between human guidance and alien courage inspired. The citizens, even those who had never held a weapon before, acted with confidence and bravery. Citizens set up barricades, helped move supplies, and guided soldiers through hidden paths. Together, they created a living defense, impossible for the enemy to break. At one point, a group of enemy soldiers broke through a minor barricade and began heading toward the inner gates. Ethan and Liara immediately responded. Using a combination of quick thinking and knowledge of the city's layout, they outmaneuvered the attackers. Ethan's instructions allowed small teams to block escape routes and capture the intruders without bloodshed. Liara watched him closely. "Your mind. It moves faster than any weapon," she whispered. "You see solutions where others see only danger." Ethan shook his head. "It is not just my mind. It is trust, courage, and knowing people will follow when they see hope. You inspire them, Liara. I only guide." Her eyes softened. "Then we are a team, truly. Together we can face anything." By evening, the enemy was in retreat. Their forces were scattered and demoralized. The city had held, and the citizens celebrated quietly, knowing their homes and families were safe. Ethan and Liara walked among them, offering encouragement and observing the effects of their combined leadership. One young citizen approached Ethan, bowing respectfully. "Sir, we have never felt so safe. Your guidance, it saved us all." Ethan smiled. "It was not me alone. It was the courage of everyone here. You all protected each other, followed the plan, and never gave up. That is what matters." Liara placed a hand on Ethan's arm, looking at the citizens with pride. "They are brave, and they have hope now. That is the greatest gift a leader can give." That night, in the quiet of the palace, Ethan and Liara stood on the balcony overlooking the glowing city. "You have changed everything," Liara said softly. "Not just for me, but for the people. Your presence, your courage, it inspires them." Ethan shook his head. I only did what humans do best: think, act, and stand for what is right. It is your courage that gives it meaning. Without you, my ideas would be nothing." Liara's eyes met his. "Still, I asked you to marry me because I wanted to show unity and hope. But now I also see that it is more than a symbol. It is about trust, courage, and strength. You have proven all three." Ethan considered her words. "I understand. And one day, we can discuss that. But for now, our focus must remain on the kingdom and the people." She nodded, smiling softly. "Yes, but know this. I have never admired anyone as much as I admire you, Ethan." Ethan felt a warmth he could not explain. It was not just admiration, but respect, trust, and a growing bond between human and alien. He looked at the stars above, thinking of the challenges ahead and the possibilities for unity between their worlds. In the following days, Ethan and Liara worked tirelessly. They strengthened defenses, trained more citizens, and prepared for future threats. They used every lesson from the recent siege to improve their plans, teaching the citizens how to act with calm, courage, and intelligence in times of danger. The Scifi citizens began to believe in their leaders and themselves. They saw that unity between humans and aliens could overcome any obstacle. Children played openly in the streets, parents worked without fear, and even the skeptical council members began to trust Ethan's guidance. Liara observed all this and felt a sense of pride she had never known. Her kingdom was no longer just a fragile state under threat. It was a community united by courage, intelligence, and hope, a community that could survive and thrive because humans and aliens had chosen to work together. One quiet evening, Ethan and Liara sat in the palace gardens watching glowing plants sway in the soft light. Liara spoke softly, almost to herself. "Do you know why I asked you to marry me?" Ethan turned to her. "Because you believed it would give your people hope?" She nodded. "Yes, but also because I trusted you. You showed me that courage, intelligence, and kindness can come from one person. You are more than a symbol, Ethan. You are someone I can rely on, someone who inspires me." Ethan reached out, taking her hand gently. "And you inspire me, Liara. Your people, your courage, your heart. That is why I stand with you, not just as a human, but as a friend and ally." She smiled, squeezing his hand. "Then we are partners, truly. Together we face whatever comes next." The stars above shone brightly, reflecting off the floating islands of the city. Ethan and Liara knew that more challenges awaited them: rival factions, political schemes, and the dangers of the wider galaxy. But for the first time, the kingdom had hope. And with human ingenuity guiding them and Liara's courage leading them, they were ready to face anything. The bond between the human and the alien princess had grown stronger, not just through words, but through shared trials, bravery, and trust. They had proven that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome fear and danger. And as the city slept under the soft glow of alien lights, Ethan and Liara prepared for the future, knowing that together they could shine brighter than any star in the sky. The morning light spread across the floating city like a golden river, and for the first time in months the people of Liara's kingdom felt calm. The rival factions had been pushed back, their plans foiled by the courage, intelligence, and unity of the citizens under Ethan and Liara's leadership. The city shimmered with a quiet beauty, its crystal terraces reflecting the sun's rays, while soft wind carried the scent of glowing flowers through the air. Ethan stood on the palace balcony, watching the streets below. Citizens were moving, freely smiling, helping one another. The city had become alive again. He felt a sense of pride, not for himself, but for the people who had trusted him and acted with bravery. Liara joined him, her small hand resting on the balcony railing. She looked at the city with a mixture of joy and relief. "It is beautiful, isn't it?" she said softly. Ethan nodded. "Yes. You and your people made this possible. I only helped guide." Liara smiled at him. "You guided us wisely. Without your ideas, the city might still be in danger. The palace council had gathered to plan the formal restoration of order. Ethan and Liara addressed them together, presenting strategies to prevent future attacks, strengthen unity, and rebuild trust between different factions. You have shown courage, wisdom, and leadership, Ethan said. But true strength comes from unity. Every citizen, every soldier, every leader has a role. Work together, trust each other, and the kingdom will be strong. Liara added. And courage comes from hope. Even the smallest person, the smallest action, can inspire greatness. We have learned that together, humans and aliens can face any challenge. The council members nodded, some smiling, others silently impressed. They could see the bond between Ethan and Liara and the hope it had inspired in the city. Later, in a quiet moment, Liara turned to Ethan. Her expression was soft, but serious. Ethan, now that the city is safe, I would like to ask you again to marry me. Ethan looked at her, seeing not just a princess, but a brave leader who had risked everything for her people. He thought about the days they had spent together, fighting side by side, planning strategies and inspiring citizens. He realized that the request was no longer just a symbol. It was a reflection of trust, respect, and perhaps something more. Liara, he said slowly, I have seen your courage, your intelligence, and your heart. I have witnessed your people's bravery, and I have been honored to stand with you. If marriage will strengthen your kingdom and unite our peoples, then I accept. Liara's eyes shone with happiness. Ethan, thank you. Not just for your words, but for standing with me through everything. Together we will lead this kingdom to a new era. The preparations for the marriage were simple, yet beautiful. Citizens decorated the palace terraces with glowing flowers and hanging lights. The ceremony combined both human and alien traditions, reflecting the unity between their worlds. Ethan wore simple attire, choosing practicality and respect over grandeur. Liara wore a flowing gown of shimmering fabric that reflected the light of the floating city, symbolizing hope and resilience. The citizens gathered to witness the event. Children waved, adults cheered, and even the previously skeptical council members nodded in approval. The ceremony began with words of unity and courage, emphasizing that this marriage was not only between two individuals but also a symbol of cooperation, hope, and mutual respect between humans and aliens. When the vows were exchanged, Liara spoke first. Ethan, I trust you with my life, my people, and my kingdom. I promise to lead with courage, wisdom, and kindness alongside you. Ethan replied, Liara, I promise to stand with you, to guide when I can, to learn when I must, and to protect this kingdom and its people. Together, we will face every challenge, inspire hope, and build a future worth living. The citizens cheered as the couple's hands were joined. The floating city seemed to glow brighter, as if celebrating the union and the promise of a stronger, safer future. In the days following the ceremony, Ethan and Liara worked closely to implement new policies and strengthen the kingdom's defenses. They encouraged collaboration between different factions, promoted education and training, and ensured that every citizen felt valued and protected. Ethan introduced new technologies and strategies that the citizens quickly adapted to, using the unique features of their floating city to improve communication, defense, and transportation. Liara's leadership inspired loyalty and courage, while Ethan's guidance inspired intelligence and creativity. The city began to thrive like never before. Trade increased with neighboring planets, citizens shared innovations, and the arts and sciences flourished. Children played safely among the glowing terraces, and families felt secure in their homes. The kingdom was no longer fragile. It had become strong, united, and hopeful. One evening, as the sun set behind the floating islands, Ethan and Liara stood on a terrace overlooking the city. The soft glow of lights reflected in their eyes. You? No, Liara said. I once thought that marriage was the only way to save my people, but now I see that it was our courage, our trust, and our willingness to act that truly saved the kingdom. Ethan smiled. Yes, Marriage is a symbol, but action and unity are what make a kingdom strong, and your people showed that courage. Comes from hope and leadership. Liara's hand found his again. And you showed me that humans can be more than we imagine, brave, clever, and kind. You have changed my life, Ethan, as well as the lives of everyone here. Ethan felt a warmth of pride and satisfaction. And you changed mine, Liara. Standing beside you has taught me that courage and intelligence, combined with hope, can change worlds. The stars above the floating city twinkled like countless eyes watching over them. Ethan and Liara knew that challenges would come again. There would always be threats from rivals or dangers beyond their planet. But now, the kingdom had strength, unity, and hope. And with humans and aliens working together, they could face anything. Citizens looked up at the palace that night and felt safe. Children pointed to the stars, dreaming of adventures and possibilities. And somewhere in the quiet streets and glowing bridges, citizens whispered about the human and the alien princess who had saved their world, showing that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome any challenge. Ethan and Liara walked through, the palace gardens hand in hand. The glowing plants swayed gently in the soft breeze, reflecting the soft light of the floating city. We did it, Liara said softly, leaning slightly against him. Ethan nodded. Yes, together we did, and together we will continue to lead, to inspire, and to protect. Liara smiled, her eyes shining. A new dawn, Ethan. For the city, for the kingdom, for all of us. Ethan looked up at the sky, thinking of the stars beyond, the planets they had yet to explore, and the endless possibilities of friendship and unity between humans and aliens. A new dawn, he repeated, squeezing her hand. And we face it together. Above them, the floating city glowed with peace and hope. The citizens slept safely. The enemies had been defeated or driven away, and the kingdom had found its strength. A human and an alien princess had stood together, combining courage, intelligence, and heart to change the fate of a world. And as the night sky stretched into infinity, Ethan and Liara knew that the future was bright. Not because of one hero, but because of trust, unity, and the human spirit shining in cooperation with the alien heart. Together, they had created a new era, one where hope, courage, and wisdom would guide their people for generations to come. The city, glowing under alien stars, would never forget that moment, and neither would Ethan and Liara.